subsidy is gone. Subsidy can no longer justify a ever increasing cost and the wake of dry resources.
The one pronouncement that has triggered the emergence of long queues at filling stations across the country once again. Even though subsidy payment is still covered in the 2023 budget till June, Nigerians have refused to leave anything to chance.
The queues are back to the streets of Abuja at filling stations as Nigerians rush to fill their tanks, anticipating an increase in the price of fuel. Well, the NNPC Limited has assured Nigerians that there is sufficient fuel to last for days, as well as the regulatory body has said that filling stations, independent marketers should not hoard fuel, and they will be monitoring to ensure that they comply with this directive.
This driver is not happy he has to spend hours on the queue to get fuel. He wonders why the previous governments have not succeeded in putting the country's refineries in order.
First, it is a big problem now this time around. If they remove it, it will affect many people, especially we drivers, because I'm a commercial man. I'm almost 6 hours in the queue now, since morning.
Nigerians are under stress, so the president should talk and just instruct that these filling stations to start working, because as you can see in Edo, the governor said if you don't sell oil, you are losing your CFO. So the government should say something, I beg, please, because the poor people are suffering.
I'm very, very disappointed in the past government and even this one that just entered. The first thing he do is to stop the, what do you call it, fuel subsidy. Without no refinery is working. Nothing.
On his part, this legal practitioner says the president's speech on the removal of fuel subsidy was premature.
None of our refineries is functional. Even the Dangote own that we expect to resume working by about July, you should have waited till about that time so that this problem will not, because we had, if they remove it, that fuel may be up to 700. But if that one is functioning, I'm sure it may not be up to that. So personally, I feel it came too early, the announcement.
Oil and gas expert Maurice B agrees with this. He also tackles independent marketers who are hoarding fuel.
You need to calm down hard on those who are hoarding these products, because they are hurting Nigerians, they are hurting the economy, they are hurting the movement of goods and services all across the country. We all have anticipated the removal of subsidy. We have sought for it, we've asked for it. We wanted it removed, but not so abruptly. There are certain things that needed to be done for the removal of subsidy not to have such harsh effects on the population and the economy.
Well, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has assured Nigerians not to be in a panic as there is sufficient fuel. The GCEO told journalists the government still owes NNPC Limited over 2 trillion naira.
Since the provision of the 6 trillion in 2022 and the 3.7 trillion in 2023, we have not received no payment whatsoever from the Federation. That means they are unable to pay, and we continue to support the subsidy from the cash flow of the NNPC. That is, when we net off our fiscal obligations of taxes and royalty, there is still a balance that we are funding from our cash flow, and that has become very, very difficult and affecting our other operations.
I also want to reassure the public that ourselves, NNPRA, and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, will make sure that the customer or the consumer is not taken advantage of. I want to call upon all the marketing companies to open up their petrol stations and depots to sell to the public.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu, through his media team, clarifies his statement on the removal of fuel subsidy. The statement reads, "The public is advised to note that President Bola Tinubu's declaration that subsidy is gone is neither a new development nor an action of his new administration. He was merely communicating the status quo, considering that the previous administration's budget for fuel subsidy was planned and approved to last for only the first half of the year." End of quote. A joint statement by the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria and Depot and Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria promises a seamless transition. They say they will ensure that distribution channels remain uninterrupted, which will make fuel readily available at all filling stations across the country.